Hey guys, Keaton here from TechSmart, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new series that I'm launching, the Best Mac Pro. So the Mac Pro is released just a few weeks ago, or if you were lucky enough to go and find one on the streets like I did, I drove around for many hours trying to find the baseline 6-core model that you see in the back, but I'll be getting my brand new 8-core maxed out to the brim in terms of specifications, hopefully later in January. I'm guessing during CES while I'm there it'll ship. But back to the series here. So the Mac Pro can do a lot of cool stuff. It has some insane GPU power. It can just process anything very quickly. And the cool thing is it can support up to 3 4K displays. And that's something I'm very enticed by. I think CES will really encapsulate 4K and allow it to become more affordable to consumers. And hopefully we'll see HDMI 2.0. So the 4K display that we're going to be taking a look at today is made by ASUS. It's a 32-inch display, and lots of other manufacturers such as Sharp, such as LG are really producing 32-inch 4K displays, and Dell's also in there too. So 4K is not some crazy technology that is just brand new out of the pipeline. But it is very expensive. So while the Asus monitor just looks absolutely mind-blowing, cool, pixel goodness, glamorous, fantastic, it is very expensive. It comes in at around $3,300 to $3,500 depending on where you buy it. So without further ado, let's go and take a look to see what 4K looks like on the brand new Mac Pro. So before we hop into the physical monitor itself, let's talk about a little tech specs and ports on the brand new Mac Pro. So it features 6 Thunderbolt 2.0 ports. It also rocks 4 USB 3.0 ports and 1 lonely HDMI 1.4 port. So hopefully the HDMI 1.4 port can be updated with just a simple firmware update. I don't know for sure, so if I am wrong and it can be updated, correct me in the comments down below. But HDMI 2.0 is really going to allow the floodgates to just be unveiled for all this technology. And I'll go into a little explanation here. So Thunderbolt 2.0 can go ahead and support 4K at 30 frames per second. And I'd say 30 frames per second in 4K is definitely the sweet spot. As 4K on this monitor, it looks great, just it is definitely laggy. And that's because at 30 hertz or 15 frames per second, just it's not good at all. So when we get 30 frames per second, it starts to become a lot more smoother. You can actually do daily tasks on there, and I just wasn't able to do that naturally and comfortably on the 4K setting with this monitor itself. So why HDMI 2.0? HDMI 2.0 is the more cost-effective source for manufacturers. Apple's Thunderbolt 2 can support it all right now. If they just did that, I wouldn't be complaining, and hopefully Apple just releases their own 4K display. But to license Thunderbolt 2.0, and this is just on Apple's end to manufacturers, it is very expensive, and a lot of manufacturers producing in mass quantities just don't want to deal with that, so they're just going to take the HDMI route. And hopefully HDMI 2.0 is unveiled at CES, or at least we get a date to see when we can get it shipped out or just put on displays like the Asus monitor you are about to see. Also, one more tidbit here in terms of resolution. So this guy can do quite a bit of resolutions here, and that's kind of expected as the Mac can kind of tell it to adapt to whatever you really want. So when browsing on Amazon for the 4K monitor that I really wanted, it can do 3840 by 2160 just fine, and that's classified as a 4K setting. But when I hooked it into my iMac, I didn't know that you could actually change the hertz refresh rates on there. So it starts off at 24 hertz in terms of refresh rate and goes up to 30, and definitely 30 is where you want to be for something like that. But one setting I found super cool on this is the fact that you can go ahead and get ready for it. It goes up to 4096 by 2160. You can't even tell the difference. It is just pixel goodness all the way. It's like a double pixel all the way, if you catch my reference. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's going to look high quality. I couldn't spot a single pixel, and I was trying to. So that's definitely 4K, and that was something I'd call kind of a bonus because it's not advertised on the box. Maybe it's just the Mac Pro. I'm not too sure. But regardless, 4K on this display, it's just mind-blowing. So taking it out of the box was quite simple. I'd consider myself a decently strong person, so it wasn't really hard to get out. And how I hooked it up is I used an HDMI to Thunderbolt 2.0 cord. I found it on Amazon for like $9. No big deal, as I really didn't want to use the one that came in the box. There's no personal pet peeve or anything like that. It's just I'd like to go ahead and keep that HDMI 1.4 port open in case I need it for anything along those lines. So when this thing's powered on, it just works. There's no calibration needed. There's no remote, so it just pretty much works out of the box. You hook it up and it automatically defaulted to the 4K setting, which is always cool. Now in terms of design here, this is where I cannot rave enough about this. It looks fantastic. It's thin, colors just pop off the screen, and I like the stand, how it's metal. It elevates. It's just fantastic. The build quality on here is just, it's superb, and I'm happy that my $3,300 investment got me a good product like this. So hopefully at CES we'll be able to see some other great products, just not this much. And actually Dell came out and said they were going to release a 28-inch monitor under the 4K setting for less than $1,000. So woohoo for that, as I don't really want to have to spend $3,300 times 3, so almost $10,000 for 3 4K displays. So in terms of just browsing content on here, I thought it looked fantastic in the 4K setting. Now it was a bit jittery, and moving my mouse on any of the settings, whether it was the 3840 by 2160 at 30 hertz, or just using the 4096 by 2160, the mouse was jittery, and you can definitely tell that there's a bit of lagginess, and that is because we get back to the main problem here, which is the lack of just HDMI 2.0 or these displays supporting Thunderbolt 2. And it's kind of unfortunate that it's come down to that. I know technology is advancing, but I always feel like there's that one kind of barrier that's stopping it all, and in this case it's that. So hopefully at CES we can see HDMI 2.0, because that's the future of 4K. And if we don't have HDMI 2.0, this stuff, no one's really going to care. So when I stepped it down to 1920 by 1080 and I kind of entered in terminal the high DPI mode, colors looked fantastic regardless. They popped off the display. And one thing with 4K is the fact you get tons more screen space. It's ridiculous. There's so much more room for activities. If you know that quote, you're awesome. And I really think that introducing HDMI 2.0 or allowing Thunderbolt 2, if manufacturers can kind of take the hit on there, it's really going to allow consumers to have a nice, pleasurable experience whilst using a 4K monitor. So just to reiterate the content point here, I was able to watch some of YouTube's native 4K content done by creators, and I really think 4K is the next big thing. As soon as HDMI 2.0 comes out, I could really see this thing taking off. Hopefully price points kind of come down a little bit to where it's affordable for consumers. And same thing with 4K cameras. I would love to start shooting in 4K. I'm kind of ready for a camera upgrade. I'm still shooting on a T3i, so I think 4K would definitely be the next step. And to be able to watch it on a native 4K display, it's just absolutely fantastic. I downloaded my own 4K wallpaper, and just detail really pops off the page. Just the only kind of caveat is the fact that it's going to be laggy because we don't have HDMI 2.0. Now when I stooped it down to 1920 by 1080 with the high DPI setting, it still looked fantastic. It was almost like I was using a Retina display on your standard MacBook Pro Retina. It just looks great all around, and I really think that's what these new 4K displays are really going to give you. Now, you're seeing a chart right now, and it shows you the amount of space you're truly getting. You don't really know how much space you're truly getting from, your standard 1920 by 1080, your 2K display, your 4K display, then your 8K display. 8K displays, I don't even want to think about how many pixels are going to be compacted in there, because you're going to have so much space and extra real estate. So just in terms of the Asus monitor, I think the build quality on here is fantastic. It looks absolutely fantastic, but I can't really recommend it for a $3,300 price point. Again, CES will definitely see monitors, just TVs coming down in price point because it's the second year it's kind of being introduced, maybe even a little longer depending on who created the idea and when it was first kind of released, or just someone told someone else about the idea. So that's something I'm really looking forward to this year. But I think other 4K displays, like how Dell confirmed the 28-inch 4K monitor for less than $1,000, that's most definitely affordable. It is right there with Apple's Cinema display, or at least the retail version of it. And Apple could release their own 4K display. They're kind of hinting up to it, because of Thunderbolt 2, their own proprietary technology is able to use 60 frames per second at 4K. So hopefully we can kind of see that in the pipeline. Thank you guys so much for watching this video where we covered the 4K aspect on the brand new Mac Pro. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop me a like down below. It really lets me know you guys want more videos like this, and I'd be more than happy to go and give you guys a cool new video on some of the cool new features that the brand new Mac Pro touts. Also, drop me a comment down below letting me know what other videos you'd like covered on the Mac Pro within the series. I'd be more than happy to go and cover that one feature that's really going to sway you on just buying a brand new Mac Pro, because it truly is one awesome trash can. No, I'm just kidding. One awesome computer. Finally, go and subscribe to the channel if you're new here or you're just feeling like being awesome. It's free. You go and click the annotation right here, or click it on the midsection of your browser. It says SUBSRIBE. Yes, I can spell. And it just lets you know when I produce a brand new video and delivers it to a subscription box near you. Thank you guys once again, and I'll see you in the new year of 2014. Bye-bye.